You're now tuning in to Get on the Grid with Chessie Roberts every Tuesday on Intention Radio. Tune in for enlightening interviews with featured guests who discuss their diverse paths to self-awareness and balance. Email your questions for Chessie and her guests every single week here on Get on the Grid. And here's your host, Chessie Roberts.
Happy Tuesday, everyone. It's so great to be with you again this week on the latest episode of Get on the Grid with Chessie Roberts here on Intention Radio. My guest tonight is Rebecca Devine. She goes by BDevine, and I'll ask her what she wants me to call her during the show after I finish with this. And she and I would like for you to join with us in aligning with the energies of co-creation so that this show gives you the best information to your highest good and best outcome. Welcome, Rebecca, Becky, what do you want me to call you?
Oh, B's fine.
All right. B it is.
Thanks so much for having me.
Oh, I'm just thrilled that you're on here. For those of you who may not know B, she's a spiritual guide with a difference. She's the author of the angelic guidance system, Domino Angels, and a new book called Angelic Guidance that's available now. She's been reading for others and studying all forms of spirituality and healing for over 20 years, and she offers you clear advice and assistance from the angels, guides, higher consciousness, and God, the source of all of it. She's also a Reiki master, an energy healer, a spiritual guide, an angel channel, a spiritual realm channel, author, and QHHT Level 2 dedicated practitioner. I don't want to mouth the word today. And you should talk to her about her free readings and her guidance sessions. And I will have all of her contacts listed on her advert for the show, so be sure to check that out. Welcome.
Well, thanks very much.
I'm just thrilled to have you on here. Before we get started, though, I really want to ask you, what is QHHT healing? I've never heard of it before.
Oh, okay. Have you ever heard of Dolores Cannon?
No.
Oh, okay.
I'm taking notes.
It's called Quantum Healing Hypnosis Therapy. And it's a type of hypnosis which works with the source. So we're working with the source, and it's called the subconscious. So Dolores Cannon in herself has had 50 years of hypnotherapy training, and I have worked personally with her, did level 1 and now level 2, and this is a worldwide thing, and it's changing people. And actually I've had 2 cancer patients who have been completely healed just by recognizing within themselves what was really the problem. Wow. And it's not normally what you think it might be. It's quite deeper. So the hypnotherapy, this type of hypnotherapy really gets to the inner levels of your awareness, and also you have this amazing instantaneous love healing that happens, and the sessions go for about, between 2 and 5 hours.
Wow.
People like to talk, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just changing everything.
Wow,
so
that's
it's
incredibly interesting.
Oh, yeah, it's absolutely fantastic. So I've just come back from traveling Australia, and I've been doing these sessions with people as I've been around Australia, and it's just absolutely fantastic. So
Gosh.
I love it.
I'll have to look into that. Is it associated with the quantum healing, the healing touch that I'm familiar with?
No, nothing to do with that. No, this is just something that Dolores has developed over the years of doing hypnotherapy and finding out that people were going into past lives and during the hypnotherapy, and then having this voice, start talking and giving them all these higher messages. So she tapped into a way that everybody could get this instantaneous love healing through these sessions. So it's just absolutely fantastic.
Golly day, we could have a whole show on that, couldn't we?
Oh, yeah. Oh, for sure.
Well, tonight I know you and I had discussed what we were going to talk about and decided that angels and their guidance and what they can help us do and all that was a good topic for us. So how did you get started working with angels?
Well, it's a long time ago now, but I started working with spiritual things when I was about 15 years old. So that's over 20 years now. And I used to just do guidance readings for people, and I always had this intuition. And then about 10 years into all of that, then I started talking to the angels, reading books about it and thinking, hang on a minute, I might be able to do this. And it changed everything in my life. So, the readings and things used to be on one level, more like a fortune-telling type of a level. And then when I started working with the angels, it was all about love and people seeing, the magnificence of who they are and realizing that, they're not limited in any way, and starting to feel change the fears that are within them and the anxiety that they have in everyday life and all those things that are going wrong, and seeing things on a positive note. So I guess I've been working with the angels in themselves for over 10 years now, adding them into my life and studying about them and, just keeping them close and working with them and then teaching others how they can have this into their life. So it's just been a journey and it's been absolutely fantastic. So, yeah.
What I've discovered is once you open your self up to this and you start working with it, these things do grow. Yeah.
Oh, sure. And it's just being able to trust. I mean, we've been let down in life. I mean, all of us have so many times, and then to trust ourselves and, trust that the angels want to be there without actually physically seeing them and all these kinds of things. It's just so hard for people to grasp that. But once they do, it's like they open the key to freedom in their life. It's just amazing.
I can understand that. I was doing a quantum touch healing session with a healer friend of mine. Oh, gosh, I guess it's been about a couple months ago now. And during that, it was like a big door opened, and I could actually see the angels, first time I'd ever seen them. And it was just breathtaking.
Yeah.
And I can't wait to see them again. I keep asking them to come back again. I mean, I know they're there, but I want to see them again. It was wonderful. They're so beautiful. Wow. And I just could hardly stand it. It was funny because she told me, she said, "No, you have to calm down. You can't get all excited or it'll go away." Because I was ready to jump up and down.
Oh, wow. Yeah, it's amazing.
Do you see angels as separate entities, or do you see them as part of you, or how do you perceive them?
Well, I've tried to explain it to people. I have seen them in the way that you have, where it's this breathtaking, awe-inspiring, most beautiful, being there in front of us. But most of the time, in my everyday life and, when I'm doing readings for people, I'm just sort of focusing on energies. And I can feel the subtle energies, and those energies turn into colours. So Archangel Michael, for example, well, you always know when he's around because he likes to steal the show a lot of the time. I say, put his hand up for everything. But he comes in this blue light, and you can feel this energy of protection and strength and confidence and all of those kinds of things. And then you might be talking to Archangel Gabriel, and that's more of a lavendery kind of a color. And then you feel the messages and your intuition start to heighten. So I guess I've worked out that, the best way is to start sensing energy around you and noticing the subtle changes when you've asked the angels to be there. And that is really all that they really are, is energy. And we've created what we believe they look like, and they will cater to that. They will show us how we believe they actually look like, but really it's just a higher energy.
I didn't see anything in particular when I saw them that one time. It was a room full of different colors, and that was what was so beautiful. It was just this blob of, and I don't mean any disrespect by using that word, but they were just all there together, and so there were different colors, but I didn't make out wings and halos and gowns or anything like that.
You just felt the unconditional love.
Right. Oh, and it was fabulous. I did a healing, an earth healing through my crystal grid one time last year, and I was very focused on healing everything and everyone on the planet. And something made me open my eyes, and my entire room that I was in was this beautiful shade of green. And I have to tell you, it just kind of freaked me out a little bit because I've never experienced anything like that. And when I started asking angel practitioners about it, they told me that was the Archangel Raphael.
Yeah, for sure. Yep.
And so they said he always appears in green light, and he's the head honcho of healing. So I thought that was pretty cool.
Oh, yes. And the other thing to remember, too, with angel energy, like you were saying, you saw all this green and, you know, you were doing a thing about the whole world, you know, trying to heal the planet, all that kind of thing, is when, say, for example, Archangel Michael or Archangel Raphael is with you. From what I've learned, they bring a team with them of specialists and, you know, just all kinds of thousands of different angels. So whenever you're talking to one, you're actually talking to the energy of many thousands of angels, which people, you know, have a hard time, you know, grasping because they can't believe that so many would come forward towards them. So although you were seeing Archangel Raphael with this beautiful green, I'm sure he was bringing the universal angels with him and the specialist angels for you and ones for different feelings of different people, all kinds of things. So it's just amazing. It's mind-boggling.
I don't doubt that because the room did feel a bit crowded.
Yeah.
But they're welcome anytime. I think their energy is just phenomenal. How does one get started connecting with the angels? Kind of give us if you can, go back that far. Give us a 1, 2, 3 on how to do this for people who are just learning how, and for those of us who would like to know more.
Okay. Well, I mean, I could tell people just to talk to them, blah, 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 but they'd be like, no, that doesn't work. So the best thing that I've found working with them is that, or teaching people is, before you go to bed at night, you've got your book, you've got your little book, and you call it your angel book or whatever. And you're going to practice trusting your intuition. So for starters, you would ask the angels to be there, your guardian angel, Archangel Michael for protection. You're just asking them to be there mentally or out loud, whatever it is. And then you will write down a question on your piece of paper. So it might be, you know, what is my soul purpose? Or something like that, because a lot of people ask that kind of question. So what is my soul purpose? And then close your eyes and you will feel a response, and you just write it down. And some people would say, I couldn't feel anything, or I couldn't sense anything, but I had the feeling that I just had to be happy. And, you know, they think that might be the wrong answer, but actually that's exactly what you should be doing on your soul purpose is being happy. Do what brings you joy, you know, and it doesn't matter whether it's conforming to society's rules. It's just whatever makes you happy. So you get into a practice of asking a question, writing down the response, the first thing that you feel. And when it is from the angels, it's always going to be all loving and unlimited and, you know, speaking to you from the higher perspective. Well, when it's your ego, it'll be something like, I have no idea what I'm going to do as my soul purpose, you know, that kind of thing.
Well, isn't one of the things that we do that kind of stumbles us up on all of this spiritual connection, don't we kind of overthink things?
Oh, God, yeah. You know? Yeah, and like I was saying before, we've been let down so many times, and it's very hard to, you know, trust anything anymore. And there's so many people out there that will also scare you in spirituality, in the spiritual realms, you know, like those who are teaching in certain methods, they make you feel a little bit frightened. And so some people might have had experiences with people who were saying, you need to, you've got heaps of attachments on you and you need to come to me and give me all this money and then I'll get rid of all of these attachments. So they're afraid to reach out or ask anyone for help, and let alone themselves. So yeah, it's a very long I mean, for some people it's going to be a long process of building this trust and building and understanding your intuition is your inner feeling, and that's how the angels are talking to you. And it takes them that little bit of a while, but once they step out and they just trust it even one time, then it all starts to come faster and faster and faster towards them.
That makes perfect sense to me. Okay, so we've got our book and our question, and we've written down what we felt. What's next?
Yeah. Yeah, and so then we're just trusting our instincts and sort of dialoguing with the angels. And, you know, before you know it, you're actually writing like channeled messages and things where it's big, long messages, not just towards yourself, but maybe about humanity and about the universe and all these kinds of things. So once you get the basics down with, talking to the angels and dialoguing with the angels and writing down your things, then you can understand the connection that you have, and it starts to get to a point where you can just think something and, ask the angels for assistance. You can just think it and the answer is right there. And from there, you can just go on and on and on where, someone like me and you're just channeling messages on the spot, or working out meditations straight off the top of your head, and having that trust and that flow of energy working with you. And it changes you,
Yes,
you see
ma'am.
the differences happening, that's for sure. You see the differences happening in your life, and those people that are around you start to notice, this beautiful soul light around you, and they're either attracted to it or they're not.
Well,
sometimes the brighter you shine, the more people are afraid.
Well, that's true. Hold that thought, B. We'll be right back after this break. You're tuned in to Get on the Grid with Chessie Roberts here on Intention Radio.
Imagine hundreds and even thousands of people from around the globe gathered together for 15 minutes once a week with a purpose to focus their attention on one intention of love or abundance or health or world peace. Can you feel the power of this gathering? If so, join your brothers and sisters every Saturday at 3 p.m. Pacific Time. That's 10 p.m. London Time for 15 minutes that will change your life and the world around you at www.intentioncall.com.
Welcome back. You're still tuned in to Get on the Grid with Chessie Roberts here on Intention Radio. And my guest tonight is BDevine, and she's talking to us about angels and how to communicate with them. And you were talking about the trust thing. And that is hard. That is kind of hard to do, because we've always been taught from infancy, don't trust what you feel, don't trust what you see, get somebody else's opinion first. And I always tell my students and clients, don't live by committee. If you're going to use a committee, go with your higher self, go with your angels, go with your guidance. Don't ask Facebook. No slam to Facebook, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So what would you say about that?
Yeah, the trust thing is the hardest thing. You can't teach someone to trust themselves. That is a journey that they have to undergo if they want to. And they have to also understand that it's not an instant process. You are embarking on a spiritual journey. All you need to do is remember who you are on this journey, and know that you're always connected and all of those things. But there are going to be times when you doubt yourself, or you're just having a bad day, or everything seems to be going wrong. And a lot of the times people only believe in the angels or spirituality or anything like that when everything's going right. Mm-hmm. And they have to understand that, hey, just because you are a spiritual person, you're connecting to the angels and you're doing the work, doesn't mean that everything's going to go okay. And it doesn't mean that you're not going to have issues come up in your life, but you just got to learn how to, understand that your perspective will change after you sit back and detach yourself from drama and say to yourself, no, I'm going to trust what I felt about this situation, and I know it's right for me, and I'm just going to ride this out, and then it will all be revealed to me. But having trust is the hardest thing for anybody. It's universal. Everybody has this issue with trust. And it can be very, very debilitating, I feel, the more that you give into that.
Well, one of the things I discovered the hard way, of course, because my longtime listeners know I've done everything the hard way, is to realize that when things aren't going your way, that's your guidance talking to you too, saying, hey, wake up. You're heading the wrong direction. You're on the wrong path right now. See me, hear me. And once you... In my opinion and in my practice, what happens is when I'm running into walls and knocking things over, not having a good day, if I sit down just a minute and say, hey guys, what's going on? I'll see the error of my journey that day. Maybe I'm trying to push that rock up the hill instead of letting it roll down on its own, or maybe I'm trying to force an issue that I really need to leave alone. And again, like I said, I found out the hard way that when you try to go against that and make it happen anyway, it usually does not go well.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And, that's the thing. If you have having issues happen to you and they're repeating, this is another sign as well, repeating issues, I always tell people, have a look. How were you feeling on that day? What were you thinking about things? What was really going on? Were you worried? Were you stressed? Were you anxious? Because all these things are showing you something that, you know, this repeating pattern is all of these feelings that you're having are bringing this up until you take that step over it and change your mindset, because, you know, we have created issues and problems in our mind. So the only way that they're going to ever be released is the same way, through our mind.
True,
you know,
that.
changing the negative worry to a more positive mindset. But yeah, we always have issues come up when we need to learn something that's a major lesson for us, for sure.
And if you can wrap your mind around that and explain to yourself that that's what's going on, and take just a minute and reconnect and listen, and usually it's the first thing that comes into your mind when you say, okay, what's going on? What's really happening? And that first knee-jerk impulse is your answer, and it's usually just spot on.
Yeah, but we say to ourselves, well, it couldn't be that.
Yes, we do.
It has to be someone else's problem that's doing this to me. It's not me.
Well, it's a process, like you said. And the other thing that I have discovered, again, the hard way, is it's experiential. If you don't experience it as you're trying to learn it, you don't learn it.
That's right. That's right.
It's the allowing the flow, allowing the lessons, and allowing the connection, I guess would be a good way to put it. Wouldn't you say?
Yeah, for sure. And acceptance, you know, of the
whole
that's
thing.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just having this acceptance and saying, well, you know what, I've banged my head against that wall that many times. I'm just gonna let this go for now, and I'm gonna move forward from this, and I'm gonna stop fighting this. And as you said, push that rock downhill instead of always trying to lift it up, or blame myself for every little thing, or what people are thinking, and all of these things. And as we know, it takes a lifetime of doing that. You know, people expect to be better overnight. Bang, I should be totally connected and everything should be wonderful in my life. But, you know, it does take conscious effort.
What I do is I'm sorry, go ahead. I thought you were done.
No, I was just going to say, not so much of a mental strain, but a conscious effort, you know, in your life as you move forward.
Absolutely. I always ask my students and clients, how old are you? And they'll answer me. I say, okay, that's how long it's taken you to get to this point. How long do you think it's going to take you to undo all of that? And they go, oh, I get it now.
Yeah, that's right. It's been a lifetime of developing these habits, you know. So it's going to take a little while to unravel all of those things and get to know who you are. I often say to people, you know, do you know who you are? You've been labelled as a mother or a daughter or a sister or a friend or whatever for so long, or being, you know, your job as a doctor or your job as a lawyer or something. That's who people see you as. But do you know who you really are? And they don't. You know, they don't have a clue, and they don't understand how to actually get there and, you know, take the next step so that you're moving into the next phase of your life. And it's so important for us, you know.
I agree with you. I think the part of that's so difficult for us as people living in a friend of mine called it a meat robot suit, being on the physical plane, is that we don't realize we are a soul piece of the divine. We are, I stumble over it every time because it's so huge and people look at me like I've gone green sometimes, but we are God here on the planet. And if we can realize that and wrap our minds around that took me a long time to come to grips with, because we're taught, especially in the Christian culture, and I'm not putting down Christianity at all. Please no emails about that.
I know you're going to be equal, huh?
Yeah. I don't mean that it's a bad thing, but what I am saying is that we're taught the separation. One of the things we used to say every Sunday is, I'm not worthy to gather the crumbs under his table. Well,
oh, gosh.
that, even as a child, that really bothered me. I said, I must be a really lowly individual and not worth anything. And then I learned that I'm part of this divine energy. I'm part of this creative energy. And all I have to do is remember that, and I actually feel the connection. And it's wonderful. And I think that might have been why I asked you if you saw the angels as distinctively different entities.
Yeah, no, I always just see that as the energy, and it's like a welcoming energy that I remember. And, you know, when people do have the experience, their soul resonates with it, and they sometimes, you know, are just crying with the love that they're feeling, and perhaps for the first time they've ever felt completely loved in their whole life. And as we know, you know, I grew up as a Christian as well, and the arguments with my father over the Bible and different sections, and how I'm a heathen now, you know, with what I do, and, you know, I'm gonna, you know, my soul's in deep trouble, and all of these kinds of things. This fear is created in people's lives, and, you know, they're so afraid of dying and this massive judgment that they have gone through life judging themselves, checking themselves, watching what they say, not doing this, not doing that, and all these kinds of things. And when they actually do feel the overwhelming love of the divine and understand that connection never left us, it's us that have turned away and looked for it in other people, you know, look for it elsewhere. That connection has never died. And once we strengthen that again, our whole life just changes, and we just take a breath of air, you know, maybe for the first time.
It's a relief. Amazing. It's a huge relief.
Yeah, such a relief.
One of the tenets of one faith that I was studying not too long ago said, if that which we seek we do not find within, we shall never find without. And that to me is very profound. And I find it in all different faith bases and all different denominations of these different faith bases. And it seems to be something that kind of gets pushed under the carpet and overlooked a bit.
Oh, yeah. You know, we have to find that connection for ourselves within, and we stop looking through everywhere else to help us get there and take that step for ourselves. And that is, like I was saying before, where we get the true freedom and we move into the next phase of our life, when we finally work that out. And it just feels wonderful to be on the other side of it. I didn't believe it was going to be that easy. I thought I'd have to suffer in some way in order to receive anything. And a lot of people that are, you know, stuck in those kind of mindsets of religion and all those things, they really do truly feel that when they are suffering, they're doing the right thing for some reason. And that never made any sense to me. Well, we don't have to suffer.
I don't think that what the divine had in mind when he put us here, it's what we figured out or think we figured out since we've been here, wouldn't you say?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, that's right.
And I call the divine he just because that's the normal pronoun used, but yeah. I don't see creative energy, divine energy, Christ consciousness. I don't see it as male or female. It just is.
No, it just is. That's right. But yeah, I understand. Sometimes we have to say he because people think God is source, and
my guidance.
That get difficult.
My guidance shakes their heads and says, you and your clumsy human words. And I said, well, yes, but I have to use them to explain you to other people. And they go, okay.
Exactly. Yep.
Well, what else can you tell us about angels? I kind of dragged you off our track here.
Oh, no, that's okay. It all flows, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Well, I guess the thing about angels is like I was explaining before a little bit, is they teach you about having an acceptance of the self, having unconditional love for yourself, and not limiting yourself on what you can do, be, or have, you know, and holding a vision of success for yourself instead of holding an expectation of, once I go through all these hoops, then I can have what I want. They ask us to stay in a state of gratitude, expecting that miracles are happening in our life. And oftentimes people say to me, well, you know, how can I want to win the lottery, so, you know, why don't you just ask the angels to give us the lottery numbers, and things like that. And it's like, well, what energy are you putting towards actually receiving, for example, abundance or the lottery or anything like that, are you believing that it's happening? Are you in that forward momentum of, yep, you know, that's just going to be perfect for me, and I'm just going to have this, and I'm going to know exactly what I'm going to do with it, and I can see myself with it, I can feel myself with it, I'm moving in that direction, and I believe? Are you doing all those things? Are you going, please let me win the lottery? You know, like, all those kinds of things.
Makes me think of the old story about the guy who was mad at God because he didn't win the lottery, and he was ranting and railing at him, and when he stopped to draw breath, he heard a booming voice from above say, "Give me a hand, buy a ticket."
Yeah, exactly, right? How can you win it if you're just sitting on the couch? You know, so the thing of it is, like, you know, anything is possible. Like, we know that absolutely anything is possible. But if there is any doubt in our mind as to how that can happen or when it will take place, or we start putting those limits and those rules on everything, then we may not see anything happening. And the angels always say to me, you know, if you ask for something, take a step forward towards it, and then the energy of the angels can, you know, open up opportunities for you and all those kinds of things. So they work with your energy. Whilst you're sitting there and expecting them to do everything for you, you're just going to be sitting there for a long time, you know.
True that.
So, yeah.
Well, hang on. We got to take one more break. We'll be right back.
Sure.
Don't lose that thought, B. You're tuned in to Get on the Grid with Chessie Roberts here on Intention Radio.
Aloha. Thank you for joining us here at Intention Radio. David, your host again, just passing on my gratitude for you that are joining us and sharing your vibration with us. I quite often speak about vibration. A lot of our guests and our hosts do too. The heart is very powerful, and I do mean electronically. We are sending out vibrations with every breath we take, with every heartbeat we take. Thank you ever so much for sharing yours with ours. We do look forward to sharing ours with yours. That is what this community is about. And for those of you that are inquisitive about being a guest on Intention Radio or a host, please join us, because you will become part of the family, closer-knit part of that family. All of us are. Thank you for joining us at Intention Radio.
Join me, Soraya Dean, as we explore conversations at the Peace Table every Tuesday on IntentionRadio.com.
Imagine thousands of people from around the globe gathered together for 15 minutes to change the world. Well, it's happening. Every Saturday on the Intention Call, in your car, at work, walking, driving, or working out, you can join us. Visit www.intentioncall.com and download the free app to be part of this massive movement. Join the world's largest intention call at www.intentioncall.com. See you this Saturday.
Hi, this is Kimberly Sherry with Heal.
Hello, everyone. It's Tamara Gold with Empowered Living. You are listening to Intention Radio.
And you're listening to IntentionRadio.com.
Welcome back. You are still tuned in to Get on the Grid with Chessie Roberts here on Intention Radio. And BDevine and I were just discussing how we can ask for all the help in the world, but we need to step out in faith. We need to step out in conviction that we're doing something towards our goal, and work with the divine energy, not just, what did you say, sit on the couch and wait for it to fall on your lap?
Yeah. So it's all about that, you're holding an intention. That's a word that I always use. You know, your intention is that you want to have everything. You want to be abundant. You want to move forward. You want to have this happy life and all those kinds of things. But it's not going to sit and move for you if you are saying to yourself, but that will never happen. You know, you got to have some expectation, and the angels are saying to everyone, you know, don't limit what you can achieve by even, some people even put those goals and things on their fridge or whatever, and I want to have, 1,000 acres of land or something like that. Even saying things like that limits us. So the angels eventually teach you how to change your train of thought so you're attracting the abundance. So I guess it's like the law of attraction by saying, thank you for, helping me to take the right moves in my life so that I can bring about enough abundance to help not only myself but everybody that I know, for the entire world. That's not limiting you. So the way that you ask things is also, you have to be careful on how you do that so that you're not limiting. And then you start seeing how much you can actually achieve and what can happen and what can change in your life. It's just incredible.
It truly is. And what can change in your life, I can tell you that answer in one word: everything.
Everything, for sure.
And as one everything changes, then more everything's changed. It's really funny. Once I realized everything we've been talking about and started implementing that and acting in that manner, the changes some have been very subtle. I didn't realize them until much later. And some have been just earth moving. It's crazy. And I love it. It's awesome.
Oh, it's just a wonderful way to be. And, I couldn't go back to how I used to be, like a worrywart. And I actually had, I'm not sure exactly how you say the word, but it was a social anxiety called agoraphobia.
Oh,
and it's where I used to be terrified of blushing. And, I would turn purple, okay? So if anyone was talking to me, suddenly it would rise up and I'd be turning purple. And then I started to be paranoid about turning purple. And then when I'd be somewhere, I'd be like, everyone's looking at me. It was terrible. I lived my life like that for a long time, even when I was in my spiritual journey. And I used to say, how in the world can I, because I knew I had some sort of a calling, but I thought, I couldn't actually talk to anybody. I mean, how am I even going to leave the house and all these kinds of things? And, the change in me from being this big sort of a mouse where, I felt like I was always doing something wrong and obviously having this panic rise inside of me to the person that's today where, I can talk to you on, this show, and I've done quite a few shows now, and I'm just on YouTube all the time letting it all out to everybody. And, people have seen me crying and all kinds of things. And the differences and having that feeling inside of you of complete confidence is just absolutely amazing. And that wouldn't have happened to me if I didn't trust that it could. If I didn't say, you know what, that panic, that doesn't exist anymore. That was all in my mind, and I'm changing that. And it changed everything in my life.
It took me a long time to realize that love and fear are opposites. Not love and hate, love and fear. And then I had to wrap my mind around the fact that if you love something, you can't fear it, because love and fear can't exist in the same space. It's like dark and light. If it's dark inside and you turn the light on, the dark's gone. And that took a long time to sink in. And once it did, that cascade started again. The layers of all of this is just amazing to me. Once you think you figured something out, then you have a new challenge. And what's funny about that is this new challenge, instead of greeted with apprehension and fear like before, it's like, oh, cool, a new challenge. I can do this too. And you just breeze right through it.
Oh, yeah, for sure. As I was saying before, your whole perspective of things completely changes. And now, sometimes even when I get like a flu or a sore throat or something, I'm like, oh, I'm being rewired. Wow. Imagine what I'm going to come out with when I get over this.
That's a wonderful way to see that.
Yeah. And I didn't used to think that before. I'd be, I feel so sick. And of course, I'd just get sicker and sicker and sicker.
And the other thought is, I don't have time for this. I can't be sick now. I have too much to do.
Yeah.
And actually what you're putting out there is can't and sick and too much. And that's what you get back. And so you end up under the house.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah, so all these little things just add up to making so many big changes in our life. If we can just embrace the other thing that I say to people is, God, just take one day at a time. Stop looking so far ahead about what can be and this and that. You know, enjoy the moment and the process leading up to your dreams being realized.
It's that stay in your now thing.
Today doesn't change everything. How do we know that, you know? We just got to live for the moment.
This radio show taught me that in spades. I usually interview my guests several weeks out, and I was stressing over air dates and when to have the recordings and all that sort of thing, and it was really starting to bring me down, and I was losing my joy for the show until one day I thought, you know what, I only have to do what's in front of me today.
Yeah.
And then it dawned on me, I don't have to do that all in one fell swoop. I can do what's going on right now. I can do this hour and then move to the next one. And that's how I taught myself that little lesson.
Yeah, and I bet you felt so relieved and not so much under pressure.
Oh, my gosh. You wouldn't believe. I could sleep nights. Yeah. I could meditate without monkey brain. It was wonderful.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I even taught myself that with having my own business and, you know, doing things. I used to think, oh, no, I've got to answer people straight away, or I have to be there for people straight away, or I can't, you know, do anything other than for people. And I was just, you know, I was thinking I was doing the right thing by answering people really quickly and getting back to people and, you know, having this flow. But I was absolutely exhausted, you know. I was flat on my back on a Sunday evening, you know.
Absolutely.
And I just said to myself, you know, people can wait and everything happens in divine timing, and you don't have to do everything all at once because you're just wearing yourself down, and you're saying, you know, you're putting out there to the universe, gee, I'd really like some more energy.
Well, here.
You know, but we've created all this work for ourselves, and you wonder you're so worn out, you know.
Well, what I did was I put a prayer on my bedroom door. And I told the bedroom door, okay, you are my portal to entrain with the frequencies of sleep. And when I pass through this portal, everything work falls out of me into the hallway and disappears, and I walk into the frequencies of sleep. And ever since I've done that, I sleep a lot better.
Oh, that sounds marvelous. What a great idea.
It's wonderful. Works like a champ. I had a little bit of a monkey brain last night, and it was because I had forgotten to eat supper. Because I was busy, so my blood sugar was low enough to keep me awake. Once I realized that, it was one of those duh moments. So I got up and I ate me a little snack, and then redid all of my going to sleep stuff, and I had trouble after that. So you kind of have to pay attention to what you're doing and what's going on around you and the whole bit, and pull together with everybody. And my husband tells me I'm a very silly woman, and I just smile and say, yes, dear, I certainly am.
Aww.
One of the things that I found information on when I started learning about angels and thinking about working with them and finding out how wonderful they really are, because for years I thought, oh, that's just too Christian a word. I can't deal with angels.
I know.
But yes. I love them now. I embrace that energy and that help. And I was reading several books on the subject, and I learned, and I could be wrong, so I want to ask you, that there are different types of angelic energy. There's helper energy, there's strength energy, do you know anything about that, and what would you tell us about it?
Yeah, sure. In fact, you know, in tradition we're taught about the different hierarchies of the angels, and, you know, these are principalities, and these are dominions, and these are this, and these are that, and all those kinds of things. And all of those labels are placed on there by us. So the angels always say to me, we don't have any need for those kind of names. We are the energy. So that is exactly right. So Archangel Michael, strength, you know, Archangel Raphael, healing. But, I mean, you don't even have to know their names. You just got to focus on what you need, and the right energy will come towards you. You know, the right angel will make its presence known to you. So, yeah, no labels, just, you know, what you think that you need, there it is. The support's there.
Excellent.
So that's accurate.
I abhor labels. I just can't abide them. Labels are like building a little brick wall around yourself. Once you label something, you've got it in a box, and it's so hard to get out. And talking about detaching from labels, I think is one of the most freeing things I've ever done in my life. And the problem with it is, though, that everybody wants one so they know what you're talking about. And that's where that clumsy human words comes in, because I'm forever asking guides,
sure.
What do I call this? What do I tell people it is? And they just kind of roll their eyes, face palm kind of thing.
That's for sure.
I know they have to love me because they put up with me. I'm sorry, what? What did you say?
Your angels and your guides and all of those things, they don't need names. They know who they are through vibration and sound and color, and that's how they see us as well. They see these beautiful badges of honor sitting on our chest, and they're like, okay, that's Becky because there's all her information there, and she's glowing, and there's her vibration, and there's her color, and there's her sound, and all of those kinds of things. So they see each other in that way, and they know that humans have a need for names and, who's my spirit guide? I've got to have a name, instead of just saying, I'm calling on the energy of assistance or, or anything like that. So, we have a problem with naming things. But then again, they don't mind if you want to call them Arthur. They don't care what you call them.
I found that out. I have a friend who's going to be back on the show in a couple of weeks, and you may know her. Her name's Sherry Cortland, and she was talking about her guidance. And she's got a name for them, her guidance group, her GG. And so I thought, well, that's cool. That's a good generic name. So I asked my guidance, and my longtime listeners know this. And I said, what do you want me to call you? And they said, just call us GP. And I said, GP, like a GPS on your car? They said, no, guidance peeps. So my crew is my guidance peeps, my GP. And they never let me down. They're always there, and I really like that. I don't know of any human being that's there for me like these wonderful, wonderful energies are.
Yeah, for sure. And again, there are people that are fixated with needing to see something before they actually believe it's a reality. So, one of the things that I wrote about in my book is, with the angels, with guides or whatever, I said it's almost like, you can see the air moving through trees. So you're not actually seeing the air, but you're seeing the effects of air as it moves through the trees. And this is the same thing with your guides and the angels. You're not actually physically seeing them a lot of the time, but you're seeing the effects of them working in your life.
Absolutely.
And if you just get over yourself for a minute and your need to see, you will eventually have that vision. The other thing I tell people is, I said, if an angel was to stand there right now in all of its glory right in front of you, I said, you would be scared out of your wits. They're not going to do that to you. It's going to be a gradual thing until you're ready. So, yeah.
What I tell my people is faith precedes the miracle.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
You believe and then you see. And that was another one of those earth-moving, life-changing things to wrap my head around. But it's true.
Amazing how we come up with these pearls of wisdom over time.
Yes, it is. And I get them from the most unexpected sources sometimes.
Oh yeah.
we're gonna have to take one last break here, and we will be right back. You are tuned in to Get on the Grid with Chessie Roberts here on Intention Radio.
Aloha, and thank you ever so much for tuning in to Intention Radio. David Nettinger, one of your hosts that we have here at Intention Radio, and part of the family. And what we mean by family, all of you are that are listening. We are all connected. And what I mean by that, scientific studies show what spirituality already has known. Our hearts put out a vibration, if I can get right to the point. It's an electrical shock, so to speak. It reaches everywhere on the universe. And I know this isn't an open statement, but it does. Science has shown this. Thank you ever so much for sharing your vibration with us today on our show on Intention Radio.
Join me, Carly Alyssa Thorne, every Thursday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on Conscious Co-Creations here at IntentionRadio.com.
IntentionRadio.com.
Every Saturday, the world comes together to connect like never before. Thousands of powerful meditations reunite with a focused intention to create a shared experience that will impact the world around you. It's 15 minutes, and you can join no matter where you are. Visit www.intentioncall.com. That's www.intentioncall.com.
Join me, Soraya Dean, as we explore conversations at the Peace Table every Tuesday on IntentionRadio.com.
Welcome back. You are still tuned into Intention Radio, and you've got Get on the Grid with Chessie Roberts, and my guest tonight is BDevine, and we're talking about angels and how patient and loving and kind they are. I don't know anybody that would tolerate me as well as they do.
Yes. I'm sure sometimes they're just slapping their forehead, like, boy, here we go.
They roll their eyes at me all the time. I can feel them. Well, we've got about 5 more minutes before I have to wrap with you. So, B, what would you tell everybody about this? Something really good pearl of wisdom that they can kind of stuff in their what do you call it?
Okay.
Rubber sack and take with them.
Okay, well, all you need to know is that you are a magnificent being of light. You are a portal of light on this earth, and you are always connected to Source, the angels, the divine, all the time. Turn inward, talk with yourself, allow the energies to be working with you and through you, and see your life change, and understand that you can do anything that you like as long as you have this vision of success for yourself, an expectation of the best things to come for you, and a feeling of happiness within that you are moving on the right path and the right journey for you. It doesn't matter what anyone else thinks. You are unique, and you can do absolutely anything. Yeah, so I hope that's helpful.
I love it. It's my main focus of everything I do. Wake up and see how wonderful you are.
That's right. Yeah, we've had enough of all the put downs.
Yeah, like how old are you?
Sometimes we've got to be our own best friend and, pep ourselves up a little bit.
And there's nothing wrong with that. It's like they say on the plane, put the oxygen on yourself before you help the person next to you. It's the exact same idea, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, for sure. Yep, we've just got to decide that we want to have the life that we want. We've just got to decide and allow nothing else to get in our way, and know that it's totally possible.
I would also say
no more put downs.
I would also add to that you are worthy of all of that.
Oh, sure.
I've had so many of my clients and students say, but I'm not good enough for that. Oh, yes, you are.
Yeah. Yeah, believe it and you'll see it.
Absolutely. You mentioned books, and I mentioned books at the top of the show, and we've got a few more minutes. Would you like to tell us about your books and your stuff you've got out there and all the things you do?
So I've written a book called Angelic Guidance, and it's a 4-part guide to working with the angels. And I've also written a little deck of cards called the Domino Angels. And so there's more information in the book about the Domino Angels, like more in-depth kind of answers for you. So they go together. And I've also written 2 free ebooks. And one of them is about distance healing, like and how you can start doing this for yourself really easily. And the other one is about readings and having angel attunements, and what it all is about, and what angel readings are, and all those kinds of things. So those 2 are free. And my book is available worldwide or on my website. If you go to my website to get the book, I can actually sign it for you. So, yeah, so it's all happening.
Wow,
it's all out there.
That's awesome. Woohoo.
Yeah.
And I'll have all your links and everything in your adverts for the show, so that when I post out for everybody to know you're going to be on, I'll have all your links on there and everything. So you don't have to try to write it down while we're talking. I just go back and look at the adverts and they'll be there. How's that?
Fantastic. Awesome.
want to make it as easy as we can.
Why make it hard?
No, there's too much hard going on now. And I like to tell my students, it's as hard as you want it to be.
Exactly.
And they always kind of look at me funny, but Miss Chessie. Yeah. Well, we're taught to make it hard, aren't we?
Yeah, we're taught that, like I was saying, you have to do so many things in order to get something, and it's not like that at all.
Well, you do have to align your actions and your beliefs with what you're asking for. But the cool thing about that is when you're in that alignment, it's not very hard.
No, that's right.
Because you got the universe and all that cool energy helping you. B, I want to thank you so much for being on the show today. It's just been delightful. She's talking to us from Australia, so it's her tomorrow and my
rainy old Adelaide.
So this has been fun trying to pull this together for you all. I hope you enjoyed this show. I want to thank all of you for joining me on tonight's show here on Intention Radio. And if you would like to send in a question or a suggestion for a topic that you would like covered either on the show or in one of the guided meditations that we do with Victoria Casey, and she will be back. We haven't lost her. It's just been a little hectic trying to get her on. Send your question, your suggestion, or your request to me at chessieroberts.com. And check out the stuff I've got up there. My book's up there. I'm getting ready to get my second book out. It's at the editor's right now. Please, hopefully the rewrite's not going to be horrible. align my energy with Easy Rewrite. How's that?
Yes, there you go.
So I want to thank again all of you for being with me. Be sure to be with me next Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific, and 1 p.m. Hawaii. Now, if we cross over that dreaded time when we do the flip-flop with the time, because where I am, they do the daylight savings stuff, cut off the bottom of the blanket, sew it at the top. It'll be 2 p.m. Hawaii. For Get on the Grid with Chessie Roberts. Have a great week. Bright blessings to all of you, and a good evening.
And this was another episode of Get on the Grid with Chessie Roberts, happening here on Intention Radio every Tuesday. Stay tuned for more.